Hey guys, it's Captain Kraken, and welcome to the first episode of the driver series where we take each driver and go through all the different car combinations with them, doing different playthroughs and trying different builds on each one. This will be part one, featuring Zed and the Buck Continental. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
Alright, so we're at the battle map here. We're going to choose a path to get here to the finals. We'll kind of go over what these little green points are for the newer players. If you've seen this, feel free to skip ahead. But we'll kind of go through what the different options are and how to pick your first path here. Each one of these little green points is a sponsor that you can pick at the start of the race that gives a different boon depending on which one you pick. So the first one here is the conglomerate. You have an additional component to choose from the battle rewards. This one's really good for more advanced players that kind of understand what they're able to see in the different types of weapons, and this allows you to have more options if you're going for a specific type of build. Second one here is high voltage. Non-boss and non-challengers start the battle with 20% less condition. This is really good for new players, but also advanced players alike. Simply because a lot of the enemies that you're going to see are just the basic enemies, and this gives them less health, which means you can kill them faster, which means less damage overall. Local Cocoa. This sponsor provides an additional free 20 condition in the fix station. So at each one of these fixed stations, you'll see a little coupon that gives you 10 for free. This basically makes that 30. So it's really, really good for new players as you're obviously going to take inevitable damage, and this allows you to heal up a little more overall. You gain 20% more scrap from each battle with the post app here. This one's really good if you want to be able to purchase stuff at the stores here. Also, if you feel like you're going to be taking a lot of damage, the extra scrap can come in handy if you're going to repair. It's kind of like a catch-all, so you have more money to buy stuff with or to repair with. And then my favorite that I normally go with is Aztec. I feel like it's probably the best in regards to giving you the biggest advantage early, simply because it gives you a free gadget. So each driver has their own personal gadget, and this one can give you an extra one. And that can be from any driver or one that you see in the shop. It can be any random one. This can really dictate how your run's going to go, what type of build you want to start, directing your components towards. But overall, I feel like this is the best one to go with, so that's the one we're going to choose here. We got the double the condition damage from the first bash you perform on each of your turns. So this right here leans us toward a little bit more of a bash or ramming type build. So we'll have to keep that in mind as we start choosing our components. Another thing to note, I did it in my tips and tricks guide, but simply because of the nature of how damage works and the scarcity of repairs later on, and the lack of healing here before the finals, you kind of want to pick a path that's got a lot of battles early. So this one here looks good. We got 2 here and then 4 here into several repair stations. So this one looks really good. And then here toward the end, we only have 2 battles here and then 2 battles here. So if we can heal up here, we'll only have to fight 2, and that way we'll have more health going into the finals. So I think we're going to choose this bottom path here to start with. So the first enemy we come up against is the BB Will Buggy. This one can be kind of nasty depending on what cards they get and how you're positioned. So generally when they fire one of these, they fire both of them. So it's a big burst of about 20 damage right away. So we're going to have to do our best to maintain our distance as much as possible and focus on taking him down before he can get to us and unleash this. You also notice here, you also see his bash damage is 3. So he's going to do more damage than most of the other little enemies, simply because of how big he is. So looking at our starting hand here, we have our submachine gun burst, which we'll go ahead and use. This can hit 3 different lanes, as the card says, so we'll go ahead and get some early damages on him. And then I think we'll agile shift and switch up 2 gears, and we'll get rid of the to the right here. We'll keep our straight burst because we're going to try to get ahead of him a little bit with our weight transfer here. So we'll go ahead and get rid of probably these 2. And that actually drew us our double barrels, so we'll go ahead and use that one as well. And since we were able to get that, I think we're going to back up instead of going forward, just to create a little distance and force him to move toward us. Now normally I would just end turn here, but we're going to go ahead and use hands off. Since we're playing from behind now, we kind of want to get our submachine gun cards up front. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. It's going to force us to skid, but that could possibly back us up or move us to either direction. So I believe we're one off here for this lead spray. So we're gonna go ahead and back up one with our driver card, and then we should be able to get our lead spray off on this guy. Right, and then we're going to try to move down a little bit. We're gonna have to do our hands off here to try to get another card to move down with. Fortunately, it wasn't the one we needed, but we did draw our double barrel, so we'll go ahead and use that one. So we're faced with some really good options here. I really like both the all-out shot and the shortcut. Since we got the bash gadget really early, we're going to be in pretty close. So either one of these are great options. So I think I'm probably going to go with the all-out shot right now, simply because it will replace our lead spray and double barrels, which can be very situational depending on how you're positioned. So this gives us more options and more consistency. Plus it's one less card for our deck, which means we won't be clogging our hand up often with the two cards from lead spray and double barrels, which we may not always be able to use. So the next thing we face is the red drone. There's a red one and a blue one, and they're kind of the opposites of each other. So this one shoots backward, so it's generally going to try to be in front of you. If we can get around in front of it, then we'll be able to only take its bash damage, which is only 1. So playing ahead of this is a really good idea. So we'll try to customize our weapon loadout to take advantage of that. So here in the garage, since we're going to try to get in front, the submachine guns aren't going to be the best for this fight, so we'll go ahead and remove those for now, which will decrease our deck size obviously, and then we can play into our strategy of getting ahead of it. First thing I'll do is I'll agile shift up, simply because we'll try to get rid of some of these cards we don't need. Bouncing around is good for us to position down, but I will get rid of that because I want to kind of move forward, and then we'll power shift up. And then because we shifted into 4, it unlocks the top part here of our weight transfer, which is great. So we'll go ahead and move up here. I think I'm going to leave it here, simply because he'll have to move up 2 and then back 1 to even get close to us. And I think that'll take most of his turn, which will prevent us from taking damage, and then we'll be able to unload on him on the next turn. Alright, this one's a little expensive. It's why I don't necessarily like this card on cars. I just think it's really expensive for what it does. So we'll use our driver card to move up and then move down 1. So another note for people that have never seen this before or new to the game, this clock up here with the red skull means this lane is going to close. So anything that's in this lane will instantly be destroyed. So it's a good idea to move away from this if you're near it and try to avoid skidding into it. You can also push enemies into this if you have the cards to do it, and it'll actually destroy them, so you can use it to your advantage. Another thing to note is over here, this is actually going to turn into a gravel lane, which is the same as this one here. And that will actually push anything in it back one. But I think we'll be able to destroy this, so we'll be good to go. So some options here. Right now, our stuff is positioned or playing ahead, but I don't know that it will stay that way. So we will probably take this brawler here. Again, we've already got the all out up top, and this one is good if you want to kind of like push things away from you. It doesn't actually move people, but because of the skid option, there's a chance that they'll move away, and it also applies the rumble dot damage. But I actually like the all out that we have better. It's just a flat 10 damage, and we don't want these extra cards in our hand that are required to be right next to someone. So I think the power shift and the anticipation and turbo lag from the brawler here is the best option. So we're faced with two different roads here. We can either go to the repair station or we can come down here. Each one of these options has a chance to give us free scrap or components. I generally, as a good rule of thumb, unless I have 100 scrap up here, I generally don't repair unless I absolutely need to. And we're at 110 health out of 110, so we're going to go ahead and take the free stuff here because it's the best option we can choose. Absolutely love this engine component. We'll kind of get into it a little more after we collect our other thing here. So this engine's great. This allows us to move back quite a bit, move back further than you can move forward. It also gives us a sequential gear, which moves us up and moves us forward or back. Moves us up in gear, and it only costs 2. And turbocharge here actually gives us an overload buff. So overload increases the damage based on how many stacks of overload you have on each of your weapons. So if this were to be at gear 4 and we use it and get 2 overload, both of these weapons would get a +2 bonus to their damage. So this would be 11 and this would be 12. So we're going to go and equip it now. Because this kind of moves back further than you do forward with your lookout and your first gear here moving you back, I think we're going to put our submachine guns back on, and then maybe you think about removing this depending on what we're facing. So another 2 enemies here. Harpoon buggy. So this guy only has the harpoons, so really only attacks in front of him. So if we can get behind him, then it will pretty much render him useless except for his bash, which he does do a decent amount of bash damage, so we'll have to keep our distance as well as being behind him. And then the red drone, unlike the first one, shoots in front of him. Again, he only does the 1 bash damage, so getting behind him will be very beneficial and just decreasing the amount of damage he can do overall. So although we had the straight burst right away, instead of moving down and firing on him, I kind of want to toss these and try to get more cards to move backward, simply because once we fire these and use all of our cards, we don't have enough to move back behind him, which means we're going to take damage from him and him. So I think we're going to toss these 2 back. We'll go ahead and use our driver card to shift up gears here, and then I think we'll use our lookout. And then we'll weight transfer back. So at this point, if we use all out and our ride on, it's going to skid us, which I think will be okay, because if we skid here, it'll move us back even further, or we can move straight back. Just depends on what we get here. So I think it'll be worth it to go ahead and use those. So I'll go ahead and use the all out here and then our driver card to move back again. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and shift up our gear here. Use our turbocharge to move back. And then we're probably going to SMG burst here. And then move down one. And finish off our harpoon guy here. The sequential gear to move up and then move back. And that's actually a good example of bouncing around. So we can actually move down and hit this guy. I'm actually going to shift up one here. Alright, then we'll use our driver card to move back one. And then our other driver card to move down because our SMG burst can fire in those 3 lanes. So even though it'll skid us out, the turn will actually end and the match will actually end because we'll kill it in the process. This is a very interesting choice here with the Wrecking Ball. This is a very, very strong weapon early. It's featured on the Hot Rod car that we will feature later as we go down our cars list here. But I think this will be our best choice. This one's also very interesting because it allows us to move left or right versus just having the choice to move either direction. But the slight shift, in my opinion, is a little costly for what it does. It can move either lane and shift you up a gear, but it's 3 costs and I generally don't like having that. And then here we get our wheels locked out unless we're in gear 3. That's what this little blue symbol here means. Or we wind up taking the burning debuff, which makes us discard cards on our turn. It does apply this to an enemy if we can hit them with it, but I think the best option overall here is the Wrecking Ball. So a new enemy here, the Bulldozer Hot Rod. This is similar to the other Dune Buggy that has the harpoon on the front, except this one also has the Wrecking Ball. So he's dangerous from being in front and from behind. So he also has the 3 bash damage here. So our best case scenario is to be several lanes away from him at his sides, and that'll minimize the damage he can do. But overall, we just kind of want to take him out kind of fast and prevent him from doing a lot of damage either way. We'll go ahead and equip our pinball here, just because if we do get ahead of him, it'll give us some more options to do some damage to him. So our sequential gear is really good here, but it moves us back. So we'll go ahead and use our driver card to shift up a gear, and then we'll actually use to the left to move up, and then we're going to try to get ahead of him as much as we can here. So again, there's that overload buff that we can get. And then, like I said, we kind of want to play to the sides of him, so we're going to actually move up another one here if we can, using our bounce around. And we actually may go ahead and move up one more. It'll push us back to this square, but that still creates more distance away from him to prevent him from doing a lot of damage. So I think we power shift up here, take us into our first gear, move us forward, and then we're actually going to use our lookout to move up 2, and then drop down. Again, we don't want to be in this lane whenever this turn ends, simply because we would instantly lose. So this gives us a chance to use our 8 ball, which will actually knock him back, which will be good for us. And then I think I'm going to use our agile shift here too. This will actually push him back another square, so it'll create more distance. So we'll go ahead and shift down to 4 and move over. And then redraw, since we're not playing from behind, this isn't as useful, so we can swap that out. Alright, pinball has the range, so we'll go ahead and use a pinball here. And then we want to back up, but we don't want to back up all the way. If we hit him, we run the risk of pushing him away because of the skid. So we'll just back up to 1, get our shield, and then use all out on him, and it should finish him off. A lot of options here. So this friction is really good. Gives us shield if we bash into someone, but this engine block actually locks out our engine, so we won't be able to play any engine cards on a previous turn. Right now, we're not super bash heavy, although we have the trinket for it. We've not really had the weapons to utilize it really good, being in close. So I'm not really going to take this one. Again, this is the same one we saw before with the turning point and the slight shift. As well as this one here has a slight shift, but these are kind of expensive. This does apply the rumble debuff and can actually move you a couple lanes once you gear up. So I think we'll take this one for possible use later. Same enemies we've seen before, the BB Will Buggy and the blue guy here. So we're going to try to play behind these guys. So since we're going to try to play behind, we'll get rid of that 8-ball. That way it decreases our deck size and our chance to draw these 2 cards that we'll use more often. We'll agile shift to get to a higher gear. Probably toss our bouncing around back. These 2 we'll keep because we'll probably play those. This gives us our greatest chance to move back, so we'll use that. As well as if we shift up a gear, we'll be in gear 4, we can actually utilize this. So we'll use our driver card to shift up, and then we'll go back 2 more. And then we'll SMG burst here. So our all-out shot will finish him. And then because we're in such a high gear, we can actually use to the right to move down several lanes. And then we'll use our weight transfer to get back more distance away from him and regain our shield. Oh, we really need our submachine gun cards, so I'm going to agile shift. We're going to toss our bouncing around into the left because we're in the lane that we need to be in. So that gives us our burst. And then we need to get up here and close the gap. So I'll actually use turbocharge. That'll give us the overload charge, and it should be enough to do our all out. So since we're playing from behind right now, I think this Immortal here is going to be our best option. This is really good if we're playing ahead. It locks out their driver cards and draws us 2 cards, as well as potentially sending them into a skid. This one's also really good. It debuffs their damage and also causes them to get the rumble debuff. But right now I think the Immortal is our best option, so we'll go ahead and take that one and equip that on our rear. both enemies we've seen before. Alright, so we'll go and agile shift up. We're not really going to move to the right now, and these weapons we're going to keep. So I think the only thing we're going to toss here is our to the right, or to the left, and then we're going to move back. And then we'll be able to actually use our lookout to go back 2. If we go back more than 2, this guy right here will escape, and you only get 5. Once you have 5 enemies escape, the game's over. So we don't want to move back too far. So we'll move back 2. And then we'll hit him with our SMG first here. Now, like I said, he may use both of his weapons, which means we'll wind up taking 10, but that's fine. Alright, so I think we're going to use our bouncing around to come down here, do some bash damage here. And then we're going to actually use our tune-in to move down one more. We can't really move back too much, simply because this guy will escape. So we're actually going to hands off here and toss back our sequential gear and our turbocharge. That gives us our all-out option. Looks like we had a bit of a freeze, so we will back out of this and go to the main menu. Sometimes it happens early access game, so we'll continue and then we'll have to go back into this fight. Kind of sucked, but we got a little bit better positioning this time, so we will shift down. And then we can actually use our SMG burst and our all out. And then so we can close as much distance as possible or get as much distance as possible, we're going to use our lookout here. So our enemy here is in perfect range for our mortar, so we're going to use it. And then I'm actually going to agile shift here to give us more options as far as cards go. Don't really want to move to the left or move forward, so we'll go ahead and toss these two back. Still didn't get anything that we can use like right away, so we'll use our hands off to toss these two back. There's our submachine gun shot to finish off this guy. And then we'll move back with our weight transfer, gain us some shield. And I don't want to risk skidding to possibly go into this lane, so we'll just end the turn here. We'll use our sequential gear to get to gear 5. Move back one. And then all we have to do is move back one more. So we'll just use our weight transfer to move back, gain our shield. We'll use our driver card to move down, and then we should be in place for our mortar here. I really like this card here. You can shoot all around you just like All Out can. It applies a debuff to the enemy, making them take more damage, but it also gives you the shield. So I really like this option. The rest of the options here, this one actually forces the enemy behind you, which we're not really using much of right now. So I think the best option that we can pick is the drone, and I'll go ahead and equip that now. So we're not at a place where we necessarily need to heal, and we don't have a whole lot of scrap build up, so we'll take the free ones here, hopefully to get more scrap. We do have another repair coming up soon, so having more scrap to repair greater with is going to be more beneficial, so we'll take the free stuff here. Crankshaft again has the engine block with it. I don't really like this card, but this is a really good card, especially paired with our other overload generating cards. So definitely need to keep a range with these guys. That would be 40 damage if we get in close, which would be half our health. So we definitely got to keep some distance with them. So the name of the game here is basically get away from them as quick as possible. Generally, we would move forward, but since we're playing from behind with our two front firing weapons, we're going to have to get back as far as we can on this turn. That said, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of both of these directional cards. We'll use our sequential gear to move back. And then this one gives us 3 to move back on, so we'll go ahead and shift up gear and move back 3. And then I use our driver card to move back 1 more. And then because they're still pretty close, I'm actually going to use our drone of protection instead of firing here, just to give us some more shield for the damage that we're about to take. We'll go ahead and sabotage this first one just to get a debuff on them. And then we're going to move back 2. Actually we'll just move back 1. We'll shift up a gear and use our power shift to move back 1. That puts this first guy in range for us to use our mortar. And then we'll SMG shot this guy and then move back with the rest of the movement that we have. So then we'll weight transfer back as far as we can to get our shield. So we'll just move back 1 with our driver card to get this one in range for our mortar. And then we should have enough to do a submachine gun burst on our first guy here. And then we'll use our remaining handling here to move back 2. Again, creating that distance. And then we'll call it a turn. Same thing as before, driver card back, and then into the mortar, and it should finish him off. So we got the combination of the 3 different shots from up top. We're going to go ahead and take this one. This is more of what we had at the beginning. It's very situational, but this could be good depending on if we get more bash damage later and we can play more up close. So we'll go and take this for now. New enemy here, the spicy hot rod. This guy is pretty dangerous simply because if he gets in front of you, he'll lock down your engine card, which will keep you from moving forward and can also send you into a skid and debuff you. So getting ahead of him early is very, very crucial to keep you from getting stuck behind him and him just constantly doing damage with you with these two cards. So he'll definitely be our first priority, and then we'll get our harpoon guy here. Um, our weapons are set up to shoot from behind, so I should have looked a little more at that whenever we were at the garage and switched stuff out. But still, we're going to make the best of the situation. We're going to go ahead and shift up here. We'll move back with our weight transfer. Probably move back again with our lookout. Then we're going to toss back probably the drone and the power shift. So this is a good situation here. We don't really want to move back anymore simply because this guy could run the risk of escaping. So we'll just call that there. So although this guy's in range, I really want to take out this one first, simply because he's going to be more of the headache later, and he will lock us down from moving back any further, which will set us up for attacks here. So we're actually going to over our agile shift here. We'll get rid of to the left, and probably our SMG shots, so that we have some options to move down. We got our to the right, so we'll move down 2. And then we need to move back 1 to be able to fire on this one, so we'll just use our sequential shift to gear 5. Drop the immortar, and then we'll move back 2 with our turbocharge here. So he blocked our SMG shot here because he moved down, but we can go ahead and hit this guy still with the immortar, and then put the rest of the SMG shot into this guy. We can't really move back because of our engine card, so we're just going to shield up as much as we can, and then try to close some distance or create some distance moving up here. So we're going to go and toss back these two for now. Gave us another mortar, so we'll go ahead and use that. And then we're going to use our driver card to move up. This will force us to skid, which will be fine because it gives us a chance to move back further or further up. We will take damage from this rock here though. We're actually going to power shift here to get us moved back up in gears. This should force him to skid, so hopefully he'll move out of the way and we can SMG shot our hot rod here. I'm actually going to move up a gear and move back as much as we can. This lane is actually going to turn into a gravel lane, which will push us back even further. So I'm going to use my other card here to move up. And we're going to agile shift, move up in gear. We're going to toss these two back, trying to draw our SMGs, which we did. So we'll actually move back just one. And then I think we should have enough to finish this guy off, possibly. And then I think this one will actually do enough damage to finish him. So we got some more options to bash now. This is really interesting. This one's also really cool, simply because it gives us the rage buff. Honestly, the engine here I'm not necessarily in love with. It doesn't do anything extra besides give us extra bash handling damage. So I think we're going to take this one, and since we're playing from behind a lot, this one right here is not necessarily the greatest for us. So I want to take this and go ahead and equip it over our drone right now. This is a really good choice here, simply because 50% of just gaining 40, but then we lose 20, but then we gain 40 because it's a 1-to-1 ratio now. This actually will heal up and plus have 20 extra, so I'll go ahead and take this first option here, which we didn't wind up taking the damage anyway, so we should be able to heal to full. We are above that 100 threshold that I try to keep, and we need to heal, so we'll go ahead and do that. This is the coupon that I mentioned earlier, where if you took the other sponsor, this would be 30 instead of 10. So like I said, it's really good for newer players. I think we haven't seen this one yet, the Spiky Hot Rod. So he has the shortcut, not the Warsaw, but the second one that we had, and then the straight burst. So getting ahead of this guy is ideal. Same with this Hot Rod. So we'll go to the garage here and kind of switch up what we have. This one's not going to be super useful, but our straight burst would be useful here, as well as our pinball. So we'll go ahead and equip this and remove our SMG burst. This one also requires us to be on the side of an enemy, which we probably won't do. So I think we'll swap this one out as well for the all outs that we have, or the drones too could work. But I think this would be our best option right now. We're going to go ahead and shift up and then use our sequential gear to get to 4. This will allow us to cheap shot right now, but I don't really want to do that. I want to get as far ahead as I can away from these guys. So we're going to go ahead and shift up and then move down with our agile shift. It allows us to swap out some cards, these two particularly. And then that's going to allow us to move forward with our weight transfer. And then we'll move forward another 2 with our lookout. So we're going to take advantage of the damage we can get in on this guy while we're here. I'm not going to use the all out simply because it's more expensive and we need to move forward. So we will move forward with our power shift, trying to move up gears. And then if we get up to gear 4, we can actually move forward too. So we use our driver card to do that, to use our turbocharge. And then I think we'll move up one more with our right on. So they're actually in position to take advantage of our all out now, which is really nice. I'm going to go ahead and shift up a gear to take advantage of this top one with our driver card to move forward. And then we're actually going to move up, probably with our bouncing around here. And then we'll move forward with our right on. Alright, I think we'll go ahead and move up one with our driver card instead of going and shifting up gear, simply so we can use our pinball here. And then we can actually use both of our cheap shots because of the position we're in. So we took a lot less damage in this fight simply because we adjusted our loadout to be better suited for the enemies that we were facing. This is similar to the mortar we have, except it can fire behind, so this may be an option that we take. This one is not as good as our Warsaw, so I'm not really liking this one. This could be interesting though. It allows us to move in any direction as well as up and down the more we get into higher gears. This one also gives us our overload debuff. So this one could be an option, but I kind of like what we have now with it being cheap. Although it's still the basics, I'd only keep them for a while until I find something that's really, really worth upgrading. So I think we'll take this one for now. A couple options here. Lose 10, gain a component. I don't really like losing health just for an item, a random item. If it's something specific, then I might consider it. Lose 20 to gain 20. Not really a good deal, simply because we can heal 1 for 1 at the station now. This one's really good. Gain 50 for losing an unequipped component. We'll go ahead and equip the components that we really like. But generally, if you lose something, it's okay. We can get another option of it later. But the 50 scrap, especially going into a shop, is really, really useful. So we lost our Warsaw. We'll go to shop this time simply because we're over that 100 threshold. Then we got some options here. An upgraded mortar with the fireworks is really, really good. We'll probably go ahead and take that. Let's see what else we got. Rage at the beginning of battle is also really good. This will allow us to do double damage right off the start. I really like this combination of engine cards as well. So let's go ahead and sell what we don't want, and then we'll go from there. This is the point where we'll kind of start specializing our build. So we'll go ahead and put the mortar on. And then for now, the only front firing weapon that I really think we have is this one. So we'll go ahead and put this one on here, and we'll sell pretty much everything else we have that we're not currently using. So that gave us some money here. I think we're gonna go ahead and buy this rage gadget and then this engine as well. It gives us a lot of options to move forward as well as to pacify enemies if we need to, forward or back. So I think we'll go ahead and take this one. What we have now, let me make sure here. I think we're actually good with what we got, so we'll take this rage here and call it a day. So we get a chance to lose 15 here. We're kind of healthy, but we have an option to gain. So I think I'll risk it for the biscuit and go ahead and take this one here. Of course, we're never lucky, but we do have the repair coming up, so. So our weapons aren't necessarily tailored for this fight. We're gonna have to be behind, so we may take some damage here. So we'll have to be very, very crucial. It'd be very crucial to take out the enemies that we need to first. This horny buffalo is extremely, extremely dangerous. He does a ton of damage with his creeping death here, especially when you can apply these debuffs. So getting behind him is crucial very, very quickly. And then he'll probably be our first target, followed by the spicy hot rod here. I'm gonna shift up and move back with our sequential gear. This will allow us to get some early damage with that cheap shot. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and toss back the power shift because we're not going to move forward, and then to the right because I don't want to move down into them. We could move to the left, so we'll keep that. We are met with our agile shift here, which we'll go ahead and do, which will move us up one. Probably just swap out the to the left here, and then take advantage to move back. Again, we need to be right behind this guy to take advantage of these, so we're not going to waste our all out right now. We're just going to focus on getting back behind this guy. We're in gear 3, so we'll go ahead and shift up to take advantage of the extra movement on weight transfer. And then I'm actually going to use hands off to get rid of these two. I can't really move back more than 2 simply because of this. So we'll actually save this for the previous turn or following turn and just move back here and use our SMG shot on our buffalo here. So our engine's locked out, so we're going to actually use our mortar to put some damage on this guy, and then we'll use our fireworks to deal both damage to both of these. SMG shot's actually cheaper here, so we're going to use that and keep our fireworks. And then we're going to move down with our driver card, again to try to keep distance away from this guy. I think we'll actually not use the hands off here and keep what we have. Could move back one, I guess, with our driver card here. I'm gonna move up one, simply to activate the top part to move us down. So we'll actually get positioned here, and then I'll actually shift this into the higher gear and allow us to redraw. So we'll get rid of the power shift here in one of these cheap shots, and then we can use our lookout to move back even further. And then I'll use our driver card to go back even more. And then I think I'll use these two. I don't want to use it just yet because I'll spin out and I don't want to do it with 5 gear at the wall, but this should be a decent enough distance to minimize some damage. Alright, we're already in top gear, so we'll move up with our driver card, and then unleash the fireworks and the SMG shot as much as we can onto this guy. Should finish him off. So we got some interesting options here. This could replace R to the left and to the right. We're not doing a whole lot of bash, so we're not really taking advantage of that first gadget we got, but this could give us an advantage later if we decide to take it with the extra bash damage. But I like this Reckless Rage down here as well. We can get to gears pretty easily. This gives us more card draw. This will hit us, so whenever you see this symbol, it actually deducts from your handling. But if you hit someone, you gain it back. So technically, if we're in gear 4 or 5, we move forward, hit someone, this only hits us for 1, essentially. So we're probably going to, so we're probably going to take this just because of the Reckless Rage and the card draw here. We don't have a lot of options to move back anymore, but the Rage will make up for it because we'll be able to kill stuff easier. This is probably my most hated enemy in the game, the Frosty Buffalo. Simply because this is another one kind of like the spicy buff or the spicy hot rod, where if it starts using these on you, you can't really catch up. So this rocket jump puts the rumble debuff on you and moves him forward 2. This one zaps your handling and then pushes you back. So once he starts using a combination of these two on you, it's very, very hard to catch up to him. So it's something we're going to have to watch out for. Our build really doesn't suit us to fight him very good, but we'll try to prioritize him as much as possible. We have the Immortar right off the bat with the Rage. I think we'll Anticipation here to try to draw some options here. Get rid of these two. We're given a cheap shot, which does more damage, but it's still not enough. I think I'm going to shift up 2 gears with the Agile Shift here. Toss back this, and probably the cheap shot to hopefully draw another weapon here to use. We got our fireworks. This actually might kill him. Perfect. Okay, so he's dealt with. Now we just got to deal with these. I'm actually going to move forward because we don't have anything else to take advantage of right now. Alright, we don't really have a lot of options to move back right now, so we're going to go ahead and toss these two. We did get our wobbly maneuver here, so we'll wind up taking a hit on our handling because of this, but it's worth it to get back behind these guys. Then we can take advantage of our SMG burst, which will hit both, as well as our all-out here. So even though we're in gear 4, I'm going to go ahead and use our cheap shot more than likely, simply because it'll skid us out and move us back further or to another lane. But this guy's very, very deadly, and I would rather try to get some damage on him instead of just moving straight back and then have him unleash fully on me on the next turn. Alright, so we should be good to finish them off here. We'll just use the cheap shot here, and then we can either use a submachine gun or the fireworks to finish this guy off. The hook back could be nice, but I don't know that I want to toss my cheap shots, and I don't really want to pull enemies closer to us. So I think we'll skip this one. The plasma could be good. It allows us to shoot in 3 different lanes, and it gives us the 50 health bonus from it, 50 condition bonus. So I think we'll go ahead and take this one. They are more expensive than the submachine gun shots, but the possibility of spinning them out and forcing them into another lane or running into their enemies is more beneficial. So we'll go ahead and take that one. We're gonna heal here. We're kind of low on health, so we'll heal up. Take advantage of that extra 50 that we just got from our plasma. These are all enemies we've seen before. These will probably be our priority simply because of how much damage they can do, and then we'll focus these afterward. So we could cheap shot this guy and fireworks this guy and take care of him really quick, but I kind of want to try to get back here and use an all-out shot on all 3 of these and take advantage of the extra damage from this rage. So we'll anticipation. We'll probably drop these 2 for now. Actually, we'll probably drop the power shift. We'll use our driver card to move up. And then weight transfer, I don't want to use just yet because I want to redraw these 2 to see what we can possibly get. Okay, an agile shift is good. That'll put us up into the next one. I think I'll go ahead and toss these 2 back. And then move back 2. And then we will spin out here by using this all out. But that can move us back further into another lane, possibly run into someone else. So I think it's worth it to get all this damage. Alright, so we'll go ahead and plasma this guy here, hopefully send him into this. Or we could actually instead use our fireworks to finish this one off. But I want to take advantage of the possibility of him doing some damage this way first. Okay, so we'll actually back up here. I'm going to go ahead and shift up the gear and then back up as much as we can. Probably come back to here because then we could use the immortar to finish that front guy off there. And then although it's going to skid us out, I'm actually going to back up one more and use our hands off to try to get some more options on this next turn. So this lines us up perfectly for an all-out. It should take out these two and do some damage to him. And we'll use the rage to finish him off. This one's really not really good for us. We're not playing from ahead, so we're not going to be able to take advantage of this very often. This one really doesn't give us any options to move back, and we are going to lose our rage. This one actually puts the rumble debuff on us if we were to take it. I do like the overload charges, but this debuff, in my opinion, isn't worth it. We could try it, but I like what we have currently, but we'll take this just in case. The pushy buffalo, pretty much just like the BB buggies, has the all outs, so a lot of damage really quick. He can also debuff us and lock us out of our will cards, and he does a ton of damage on his bash, so we definitely need to keep our distance on him and kind of stay away from him as much as possible. Probably our first target, followed by the BB and then the harpoon guy here. We actually got a pretty good setup here. Go ahead and fireworks these two. Take advantage of that early rage that we have, as well as the plasma shot. Now he's just going to pull us back with his harpoon, but still moving forward. We'll keep him from bashing us after those pulls right away. So we're going to agile shift just to move up in gear. I'm going to toss the plasma mark. We're going to keep this because if we can get like another all out, we may go ahead and reckless rage and then pop him with all of our omnidirectional weapons here. So we'll toss this back, probably our wobbly maneuver as well. We didn't get it, but what we're actually going to do is move up 2. to create some distance because being at his sides is always good. We'll move back 1 for the shield, and then we'll call it there. Then we'll anticipation to move up a gear. We'll toss back these 2. I don't see us using those right away. Actually, we could probably toss back just these 2. We could move down and ram him and move down 1 more. But we got all the stuff we needed to be able to make use of this rage. But to prevent this debuff, even though we're going to kill him, we'll go ahead and move up a gear here. Go ahead and pop our reckless rage, and then hit him with all of our weapons. Similar to the options we've seen before, I'm not really in love with any of these, so we'll just take one to sell later on. Alright, I think it's the first time we've seen the laser hyper pack, or as many people, if you've watched other streams, may have referred to as Elon Musk, since it looks like the Cybertruck. This guy is super annoying, has the plasma trails, which force you to skid a lot of times and keeps you behind him. He's also deadly from the front, so just prioritizing him and taking him out as quick as possible is the best course of action, so that's what we'll do. And then these 2 aren't too bad, we've dealt with them before, but this one's definitely our priority. Well, anticipation, move up a gear, we'll toss 2 cards. Don't really know that we're going to use, we might move down to the right eventually, but we'll get rid of these 2 for now. We'll shift up a gear with our driver card. And then I'm actually going to go and toss this and the immortar since there's nothing in front of us currently. Okay, we'll move back. And then we'll move back 1 more. Give us some more shield here. The all out is nice, but we can't really use it in the position that we're in. So we're not going to do anything besides end the turn. First thing I'm going to do is use hands off to toss the 2 plasma marks since nothing's in front of us. We'll agile shift up. I'm trying to get into this 5th gear to take advantage of that rage without any debuff. So we're going to toss these 2 back. Don't really get anything as far as moving us up besides our driver card, so we'll go and do that. We'll use our reckless and then our all out. Cheap shot to finish this guy off as well. So we can kill him with the immortar and the fireworks, but we got to get up there first. So we're going to use our agile shift here and get rid of these two to try to be able to move up. We probably could have moved up and used both chief shots, which we probably will go ahead and do with the all out and then the chief shot. So this gives us our Warsaw option back, which will give us some more bash damage. I think we're going to take this. The all-outs are nice, but we might be able to make better use of this, and it's a free rage buff, as well as debuffing the enemies on the other shortcuts here. So we'll actually take this and equip it. The 60 extra would be nice, but I think we'll take the health at this point simply because we don't have a heal for a little bit until down here, so we'll take the health right now. I'm going to go ahead and go to the shop. Even though we're below the 100 threshold, we have some components we can sell, so we'll go to the shop. I really like the high lever. Free 2 card redraws, moves us up a gear and has the rage. This option under has it as well, but this one gives more handling, and we only have 12, so we can make use of the extra handling. So I think we might take the wills for sure. This is interesting, but we lose our ability to have extra rage. The shields would be nice, but using friction would force us up onto the enemies, which may be okay since we took the Warsaw. But I really like this one for sure. And then we're going to go wind up selling off a bunch of these stuff that we don't need. I might regret it later not buying this, but I think we'll pass on it for now. We'll do nothing happens on that one. I don't want to lose my scrap that I have. Pretty easy enemies here. There's just a lot of them to deal with, so hopefully we can take out a few on the first turn to make the rest of the fight a little easier. Another tip in my tips and tricks video is to divide and conquer. So you have 2 enemies here, but we're actually going to move back and focus on this group simply because there's more that we can do with these Warsaws and war cuts. And then these will be forced to move back to us. So that's what we'll do is we'll move back first. But first we're going to shift up gear, and then I think that we're going to go actually and use hands off to get more options. This is great, but we got the Warsaw to give us another rage stack, so we'll go ahead and toss those 2 for now. And then I think we'll anticipation as well to shift up. Probably gonna toss back the fireworks and the plasma, and then we're gonna agile shift as well to get all the way up to 5. And then we'll probably toss one of these shortcuts to get more options. Okay. That allows us to slam back and only take 1 damage from that. The shortcut here will finish this off. And then we'll end the turn here. So because of the high lever we took, we can actually use this to get some more card draw options, as well as get our rage buff, which sets us up nice for an ice and mortar, but we can go ahead instead of using that and use fireworks and kill both of them that way. And then to finish off this last one, I'm probably just going to wind up plasma shotting him to be able to get some damage on him. We could power shift up and try to bash him. And then we'll move down with our driver card. Use our mortar to finish this one off. And then we'll probably move back and it'll force a skid, but we'll be right next to the guy, and that'll go ahead and do some extra damage to him. Try to shift up gears here. If we can get back to 5, we can make use of this. We'll go ahead and toss back the piercing and the Warsaw right now. Unfortunately didn't get anything. We'll go ahead and use our plasma mark though. Before I do that, I kind of want to back up because there's a possibility that he goes in a lane and comes back and hits us again. So we'll move back before we use our plasma here. So we're going to move up and then use our shortcut to finish him off. This is very interesting for us, simply because we are playing from behind already, and this, in my opinion, is a lot stronger than the plasma marks. This forces us back, as well as giving us a stack of overload. This one also pushes us forward and then changes our gear up. So these are both very, very useful, and it gives us that extra handling, so I really like this combo. I think we'll take this losing component simply because I don't want to do another battle. We're getting close to the end, so I don't want to run the possibility of losing the hit points. This is very interesting, but I really like the engine we have now. This one does give us punch and rage, but we also have to discard for it. But we'll look at that in the garage here and see. So we lose the 50 hit points, which is pretty bad. We do get card draw from the high octane, and then more shielding capabilities, as well as more damage on our bash. So we may go ahead and equip this. So all enemies we've seen before, we're probably going to focus this guy first, and then the BB buggy or the bulldozer hot rod here. So we're going to try to divide and conquer. We have the fireworks to do some damage here. So we're actually going to move down. We're going to use our high lever just for the gear up. And then we're going to move down. And then we're going to try to move back up into that. But we're going to use it with a bouncing around to do some damage to this guy here. We're going to go ahead and do our hands off to get rid of these two for now. Okay. I really would like to use it on this one, but unfortunately he's blocking the path here, so we'll just use it on this BB buggy to begin with. And then I'm going to actually force myself into a skid, possibly to move down here to move back one, or do some more damage on him. We'll shift up with our high octane here. Give us some more card draw as well. So the power surge will actually move us up into this guy and give us another stack, which will be nice. It will force him to skid though, so I'm thinking about fireworksing first, and then we'll use this to get the guaranteed kill. Or we could armadillo bash this guy as well, which we may actually do. I think we'll actually use our chicane here to bash this guy, and then we'll move down and finish him off. Actually, just finish it off with a bash. And then I'm going to force a skid again, moving back, possibly doing more damage to him, but it gives us more shield. I'm gonna hands off simply so that we can try to get some more options. We'll toss this back and a push back. Power shift is nice. It will force him into a skid and then shift us up a gear. And I'm gonna go on agile shift here and get rid of those two. Okay, so that gave us some good options here. I'll probably power surge first, move forward, shift up a gear. And then we'll just finish off with the armadillo. This is very interesting. We don't get the debuff, but this allows us to shoot behind as well. So this may be a better option than the fireworks, but for the last fight, having that weapon lock on the fireworks is very, very nice against the boss. But we'll take this just in case. So this is our last chance to heal before the finals. So I think we'll go ahead and take it. We don't really need to sell anything. We have a pretty good build right now. So we'll just take the heal and move on. Alright, so we need to try to divide up. This again is our priority on this one. So I think we'll power surge into this guy and then discharge into this guy to push us back again. We could also discharge up here to finish this guy off, which actually might be a better use of it. And then we can fireworks ahead onto this guy. I'm gonna actually move down and make advantage of not being close to those guys. We're actually gonna shift up and swap this out. So we're R1 away from skidding, but we do have the shield, so hopefully we don't get bashed into the wall out here. We're gonna go ahead and shift up with our driver card, and then we kind of need to move backward. I'm gonna high octane to build up those overload stacks a little more, and to give us more options. Um, we need to shift up one more to be able to take advantage of this fully. But if we armadillo, we can actually push this guy away. And then that allows us to move up into this spot here. So we'll go ahead and bounce around and hit this guy. I think we move back Warsaw and shortcut this guy. So we'll just move back with our weight transfer to gain our shield. And then we'll Warsaw him. And then into our shortcut, which should finish him off. This one's similar to what we have currently. It does give us more damage on as far as handling bash damage goes. However, I do like the fact that we have shields with the armadillo and the punch with the pushback, so I think we'll keep that. We're not really playing ahead, so this one is not super useful. This one is nice, but I like the ability to move backward with the discharge, as well as shifting up gears with the power surge. While this does a lot of damage, it requires us to be right behind someone, so I don't think we'll take this one. Actually, out of the choices, we'll probably take it just to keep it, in case we want to swap it out later. The Musk Brothers. This one is similar to the other one. It can deal damage in the front. Can't really do any damage behind, but this can knock us into walls because of this weapon pushes you. So we'll have to watch out for that. We'll go ahead and use our discharge to go back one. Take advantage of the extra damage early. And then we kind of want to get up on the side of this guy. However, doing that puts us in range of his side firing weapons. So we're actually going to toss back our fireworks, I believe. Actually, we'll do a chicane and the fireworks. I will move up with our driver card. We'll mortar and finish off this guy. Then we'll drive our card back. And then I'm actually going to use the Warsaw here just for the extra damage, and then get us another rage stack for the following turn. I believe I'm going to high octane here to get us some card draw. Okay, and then we'll move down with just our driver card here and back with our driver vehicle card. Then we can actually push this guy over into that lane over there to close. So that'll take care of him. And then we're actually going to move down, I believe, because we don't want to take damage from this rock. So I'm going to actually shift down 2 and shift us up a gear. So it's all about moving back at this point, trying to get behind this guy to make use of these weapons. But I'm going to actually move closer to him, because if we can get close enough, we can push him into that wall and do some extra damage that way. I'm actually going to hands off here and get rid of the power surge probably and the piercing. And then we'll go ahead and use our bouncing around. So I'm going to shortcut him first before we use it, just to debuff him so that when he does hit this wall, he actually takes some more damage from it. Alright, I think we'll shift down or move down with our driver card. We'll use Agile Shift to shift up. I'm gonna toss back the fireworks and the power shift because we need to move back. We'll go ahead and do that with a weight transfer, I believe, to get our shield. And then we'll shortcut into him. We can actually finish him off if we move back and then power surge him. Options here, Supercharger is really good. It moves you forward 2 or 3 and back. Moves up gear and gives you punch. We also get the Armadillo, but we kind of lose out on the extra shield and the overload charges. So I don't know that we'll take this one, but this one is actually really good. Piercing we're not really using a lot of. It gives us the high lever again and the alternator for redraw, plus the extra handling. So I think we take these. So let's go ahead and look at these builds real quick. So Eddie does a lot of rumble damage, so this stacks up really quickly. So staying away from him or taking him out really quick is probably the best course of action. Out of the two, he's probably the most dangerous, so he's definitely the one that we'll prioritize. And then as far as Bolt here goes, she just has to all out the missiles. She can give herself some rage to do some extra damage, but definitely not as dangerous as Eddie is going to be. So Eddie's definitely going to be our priority. So let's go ahead and try to get back as far as we can right away. We'll use the alternator to draw some cards here. Toss these two back, and then we'll actually use our Agile Shift here to move back, or to shift up some gears again. I'm not really going to make use of the Warsaw right away or the fireworks, so we'll get rid of that. Probably the high lever as well, but this one can give us the possibility of rage, so I might hang on to it. This gives us extra shield. I think I will just go high lever. Move back and then down and then back again. Again, trying to keep our distance as much as we can from Eddie. I'm going to use our driver card to shift up a gear, and then probably use our hands off to get rid of these two. And then I don't want to push it because he does have the ability to force us to skid. So that would be just enough. So I don't want to go too far into gears, like switching up. So we'll leave it here. We will go ahead and use our driver card to, actually, yeah, we'll go and shift up, and that'll give us the rage off the high octane. We will discard 2 cards, so I want to actually use my discharge first. And then to stay far away from him, I think we're going to toss back these 2, and then try to move upward away from him. I think we'll call it there. I don't really want to get rid of any of these cards right now. We could possibly get rid of this one, but we could make use of it later too. I might go ahead and fireworks the bolt here to keep her from using her weapons. Alright, so we need to take advantage of this rage if we can get back up, because we need to get Eddie taken care of as quick as possible. I'm actually going to move down with our driver card here, and then I'll actually discharge back. And then I'm actually going to switch out this pushback and this probably this power surge because I don't want to move forward right now. The agile shift actually moves us up a gear. I can get rid of the high octane, even though it hurts to do it. And we'll probably, he's doing a lot of bash damage, so we'll get rid of this one. The weapon lock's not going to be as useful. And then we'll weight transfer back as far as we can, along with our driver card here. So he's in perfect place for our mortar and our fireworks. So we'll go ahead and get that on him. Hopefully lock out his weapons. This rumble damage is stacking up quite high, so we need to try to take care of him quickly so that we don't continue to take a ton of damage from him. We can't move back much because of Bolt being so far ahead. So I think we'll power shift up one. He is locked out on his weapons, but I think we'll move back and then back down just to get rid of the cards out of hand. I don't want to risk getting out though and pushing me further back, so we'll just keep it there. We may go ahead and go up a gear though. And maybe all she wrote for us, the rumble damage is just stacking up too quick. Being able to take him out very, very quickly, or whoever has this setup, is very, very important. And we just don't have it. We can try to do some damage to him though. Go and power shift up. Use our armadillo to try to shield some. I'll use the alternator to try to get some weapons here. Hands off. So fireworks would lock his weapon out and then we could discharge. But we're still going to be taking a lot of damage from that rumble. It's not going to be enough to finish him off either way. Very interesting. We'll go ahead and do it anyway. And that's all she wrote, but hopefully you guys learned a little something. That was a pretty good run there. Almost made it to the interceptor. We're just lacking the damage there at the end. But thanks again for watching. I'm Captain Kraken, and I'll catch you next time.